I'm Sid, and these are my best friends. My mom, Kim, my dad, Ty, my sister, Maddie, and our salty dog, Stella. We started our adventure refitting a Lagoon 450 before taking on the massive project of resurrecting a sunken 2021 Leopard 50. It's been one heck of a ride, but we're on this adventure to die with memories, not dreams, and live dauntless.
All right, so the way this guy works, if you want to come over here and look at the display, it does all kinds of fancy stuff. It takes these pucks that you can see down in there, just like that, and it melts, the piston pushes them in and melts them to go down. It knows what temperature that it needs to be. It'll tell you exactly how many feet are left of runtime. So I have 53 feet worth of edge banding that's this high, which is just about 7/8 of an inch. And
that's how much glue is in there to go that length of material, yes?
That's correct. All right, so here is the glue puck. Now this is white, comes in a natural, kind of looks like contact cement. They make a black, brown, and that just is so when you put your edging together that's on the edge of the board and the board that you don't see a different colored glue line right there. And of course that wouldn't be cool. And you can see how kind of close this matches. It is imperceptible once it glues down. I can control how much glue, so if I'm doing particle board, you add a little more glue. If you're doing something like solid stock, a little less glue. But these guys drop down inside of here, and then these guys need to be 370 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is 190 degrees Celsius to be able to melt this. Now, I'm gonna edge band this piece of wood.
And what piece of wood is this from?
This is the farthest right vertical cabinet support for the outboard wall that will be the right side of the trash can enclosure.
In the utility room.
Of course in the utility room. I take the edge banding and face the pretty side towards me, and I feed it right in here. Now I can adjust this up and down, so I slide it in, tighten it till it's snug, back it off a couple clicks, and then I'm gonna come up over here, I'm gonna push my little go button, and you can see it says, hey, it
Check.
is in place. So now I am going to align this line with the edge of the wood, and I'm going to wait for this glue to come out here. Push my go button.
Uh-oh.
Just like that. And that, my friends, is how the edge banding goes on. And I screwed it up.
You gotta take it off and redo it.
Before it gets too warm.
Stuck.
Oh, it's not coming off now.
Well, crap. What are you gonna do?
The way I fix that is I'll actually just cut a little piece, run it through the machine. It'll apply glue, and then I can stick it on the edge. That'll glue it in, and then I'll be able to clip it off. So it was supposed to be quite a bit sexier than that and be like, hey, look how cool this is. And
In all fairness, that is literally the first board that you've done.
yeah, outside my little test samples, that's the first one I've done. So now what I will do from there is I will take...
And obviously you need an extra set of hands to be able to hold the board from sliding. So
Or a clamp.
yeah.
I just got excited to film this
Yeah.
and show you how it
Okay.
works. Take my little trim router. I'm going to trim off the excess, which you can see down here, Kim. There's excess top and bottom as it overhangs. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take and trim that off. And then I've got another router bit that has just a 2mm radius, and I'll actually just round that edge. And after it's rounded, then I've got a little carbide scraper that just cleans up any edge or any glue or what have you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're edge banding the edges, the forward edges of these cabinet supports. Tomorrow we're gonna go and screw them all in. Once everything gets in place, then I can start measuring for drawers. The drawer boxes will just be standard drawer boxes, but The faces of the drawers, of course, will have the veneer and edge banding like the rest of the boat. So here I go. Here I go again. Let's see if I can actually rip this off.
Oh, yay.
Oh, it's still cool. All right.
Can you
Stop.
reuse that piece?
No. Oh, that is brilliant. Brilliant. Battery off.
Safety first.
Well, usually.
Okay, so tell me about this little router. This is a nifty little
Just a
cordless.
little cordless Milwaukee router. And also an Amazon special.
Not sponsored, but should be.
Right. As we keep saying. Just use this as a guide.
And I would say tools like this, if you're planning on doing any projects on your boat that require any sort of craftsmanship, fine detail, something like this is nice because it'll go along with all the other cordless tools that you have. And it's compact and small, so it's not going to take up a lot of space in whatever tool room or tool storage that you happen to have. So
Yes.
I love the fact that it goes along with all of our other Milwaukee tools.
Yeah, absolutely. This does make a bit of a mess that you'll notice, but I do have eye protection on, and here we go. And you see this router bit has a little roller bearing on it. So the roller bearing actually rides on the plywood, and then that little short end of the cutter is just what takes off the extra little plastic edge banding. All right. Now I need to change my bit. So take the battery off. Can I have that other bit over there, babe?
Yeah.
Thank you, Vanna.
Vanna, thanks.
Pro tip. When you put a router bit inside of a router, there's obviously the shaft's longer, and what you want to do is you want to drop it all the way down until it stops, and then you want to back it out just about 1/8 of an inch. Okay? There's a reason for that. A couple reasons. One, you don't want it to be too long, so it doesn't torque the side of the actual router shaft. Number two, you don't want it all the way down because the shaft flares out. And if you try to clamp it where it flares out and not on the straight side of the shaft, that can actually be dangerous because it can work its way out and then the router bit can come loose while you're routing. And this here, I'm just adjusting this until I just can't see the sharp edge down here. I just want it to have a smooth route, or a smooth transition from the base all the way into that curve. All right, now the last thing I'm going to use is this little scraper. You can buy these separately from Festool, but it comes with this edge banding kit. This is solid carbide. There's a scraper on this side, and then there, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little bit of light shining through the windows. You've got a 2mm, a 1mm, and then up here underneath the cord is a 1.5mm radius. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the straight edge, I'm gonna scrape off any excess glue, and then this is what I want is about 1mm radius on here to 1.5 mm, and I'm gonna take this 1.5 mm radius and scrape it along the edge to give myself a nice smooth radius. All right, so I'm gonna take this at an angle, like so, and I actually use the cord. This little elevation here raises it up just a skosh and gets it a good angle of attack. And I'm gonna basically just draw this down the edge, and it scrapes off all the excess glue or anything that's on the down here hanging off the edge. then if you see here, see where that says 1.5?
Yeah.
Right there. Take that. I'm just going to drag it right here. And if there's any chatter or little tooth marks from the router bit, this removes those. Couple strokes. All right, there we go. Now, normally this surface and this surface, when you're edge banding something, would already have laminate or veneer applied to it, and then you'd apply the edge banding over top of that, and then you would take this radius and route into it. You're gonna see me do that when I do these drawer faces, but for right now, because this is gonna be the inside of the cabinet, this has got a primer finish on it. This will also get a wipe down poly on it that will waterproof it in addition, and you're never gonna see because the drawers are going to be coming in and they're full height drawers. So there's no need to spend a bunch of time and money to put laminate on the inside that you're never going to see, especially since the plywood's already protected.
Well, and it's almost I mean, it's a little lighter, but
I tell you what,
when it goes into a cabinet, you're not going to notice the difference. So that was the other reason why we decided not to spend the extra money in laminate to do the inside of the cabinet carcass.
Well, and do keep in mind that all the laminate for the floor and for the walls we had to order from South Africa because neither of those colors are available stateside. So we had to get giant boxes of very fragile laminate shipped over here. So I'm being very, very careful with what I have and not wasting it if it's not necessary. So that's one down. I've got 5 more to go. And then those little ledger strips that you saw holding them together, anything that's facing forward, the toe kicks, all of that, is going to have all of this edge banding on it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty slick, isn't it?
If you're liking this content and want to show your support, the best way to do that is hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next exciting adventure.
I thought this was for continuous dispensing, and it's not. You use this to do one piece at a time, but it can hold up to, I don't know, 20 meters or something of actual, or 8 meters of actual edge banding. I'm just pulling off of it for what I need. Now when I do the long 8-foot sections, I'll actually run an 8-foot section or an 88-inch piece. I'll coil it up and put it in here, and that way it's not dropping on the floor and it's coiled up nice and tight. And this just hangs off the edge of the tool and basically keeps all of this product level as we feed it through. Ouch. Don't burn your fingers. It's just amazing how tenacious it is and how fast and easy it goes on. I mean, you can rip it off while it's still warm, but once it cools off after about 5 minutes, it's not coming off. And it just does such a great job. All right, now I'm doing these long 89-inch strips. So, I don't know, what is that? 2.1 meters. And I'm going to use this little tray to align everything. So you get the tray. It's just like this. The smooth side goes out because that's the side that's gonna have edge banding on it, and you just drop it in just like that. And now it's coiled this up and kept out of my way, and I will take this guy. Unlock it. Just snap it on, lock it in place, and now check that out. I've got a deal that holds my edge banding. Now, as cool as I want to be, is I can't do this alone, so I need to go get Kim so that she can hold this board down and play jump back and forth, because this overhangs the front of the edge of the board too far, so I can't clamp it down and do the entire strip. Alright, so I already marked these at the boat today, so I know which side of this edge banding. This is the bottom toe kick, so when you open the drawer, if you look underneath, this will be the part that's on the top of the toe kick, and then I've got the one right at the bottom of the counter that ties all of the top of the sides together. That's got to get edge banded on the front as well.
All right.
Way to go, Idaho.
Sweet. Nice.
All right, we got one more. One of my favorite finishes for waterproofing and just a little bit of a build finish is going to be a wipe-on poly from Minwax. This is the water-based version. You can apply it with a rag, you can apply it with a pad like this, but it dries very fast. And the nice thing about wipe-on poly that's water-based is the first coat actually is, well, because there's water and it causes grain rise. And if you don't know what grain rise is where you a board gets wet and the fibers at the surface actually swell up and create a slightly rough surface. Now here's the cool thing about water-based finish or wiping a wood project with water. Once you get it wet the first time and the grain swells up and it's allowed to dry and you sand it flush, the grain doesn't rise again. So if you ever get water that penetrates through, that first grain rise, if you've taken it out of the way, well, then you don't have to worry about it, or you have to worry about it less in the end. So that's why I like the water-based finish. It provides a good solid abrasion resistance, and frankly it's just easy to use.
Okay, so the dinghy's been acting up on us, and we have a brand new motor, so it's under warranty. So we're gonna take it to the closest place that we could get an appointment, which is down in Stuart. But I don't have a trailer to take it, so we actually have to drive the dinghy from Fort Pierce about 20-ish miles down south to Stuart. But it is going to be a super calm day today. So we're planning on going on the outside because it's like 1 foot on 10 seconds. Cross your fingers, that's true. We'll show you here in a minute. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that we have extra fuel. So we're filling up just to make sure we can get there, no problem. So wave height really is hard to capture on camera, especially when you're filming from a dinghy. The forecast was supposed to be about 1 foot on 10 seconds, but it actually ended up being more like 3 to 5 feet on 5 to 6 seconds. So it was a little uncomfortable, but Pearl handled it like a champ, and we kept a steady pace around 20 knots. We should hear more about what the problem is in about a week. Fingers crossed it goes well.
What's up, peeps? So, it's been a couple days. We've had a lot of stuff going on. We had to take the dinghy down to Stuart, 20 miles away, to get a fuel system thing fixed on that guy. So it's getting a service. So that took a little bit of time away, but now we're back in. We have all of these cabinet cases edge banded and multiple coats of finish and sealed and scuffed. So there's a nice satin waterproof finish on that. And now we're gonna assemble it back together, make sure everything's square. Once we get it there, we're gonna caulk everything into the walls, and that'll sit overnight, and then we will be able to measure for drawers. And tomorrow, I promise, I'm making drawers. So let's get on it. Now we're gonna be using a tapered or a flush head screw. And I want a little bit longer. I want a 2-inch. Pay no attention to that. I want a 2-inch screw, and you see it's got this tapered head to it. So to get a nice, gradually tapering tighter and tighter hole so that these threads grab nice and tight and don't blow out the plywood, we're going to use this type of drill bit. I'll put a link in the description. This has a tapered drill bit on it, and it has a countersink. So not only does it drill for this size screw, just a little bit smaller, and the very tip of it's narrow, so the width of this screw gets a nice tight bite at the bottom, but it also tapers that little countersink right there, all in one function. I also have 4 cheat things I'm going to use. 2 are going to be, or 3 are going to be these 2 boards here that I cut, and this board. These are 18 inches, and we're going to put these in 3 different locations, in addition to using our carpenter square to make sure that the first panel goes on the wall. That's going to be our 0. And we want everything else to be either parallel or perpendicular to that, so all of our drawers slide nice and smooth, and we don't have any funky stress on the drawer slides, just to make sure that those spaces are all 18 inches front to back, top to bottom. Right now, everything's prepped, edges are sealed, everywhere we're gonna put caulking is sanded, wiped down, and now I'm gonna basically add a bead of caulking underneath where this is gonna go, and then a little bit on the wall. When I push everything in, we'll backfill either side with this adhesive, and yeah, we're gonna make sure this doesn't go anywhere. Now, after I'm done with all of that here in a couple days, I will come down and put some cleats down in between these cabinet frames on the floor and against the wall, so that that will be glued and screwed in, so that we can then screw the cabinet sides to those as well. So it's going to be quadruple reinforced. Okay, so everything is now tacked in. It's screwed in on the bulkhead side, and then we've got big, thick beads of Bostik, and I'll show you. I'll put a picture or a link down below. Sid, put a picture here. So that's all basically a marine adhesive. That's gonna hold it in place. It's also going to provide a cushioning and a dampening, so an anti-squeak, because we don't want this cabin squeaking when the boat moves like this. And I'd rather just pin it to the fiberglass insert on the wall and the floor, so if the boat does move a little bit, there's a little bit of flex and give in that. Now I'm going to measure for the drawers and get our drawer slides ordered today, because it takes a few days for those to come in. And again,
Drawer slide.
drawer slides.
They're slides.
Yeah, I'll be making drawers tomorrow. It's an absolute disaster in this boat. I'm embarrassed by how ugly this place is. But again, every day something gets moved. And keep in mind, in fact, we'll show you a picture of what the boat looks like right now. It's horrible. There is not one storage location in the entire boat that's inside that has anything in it. So everything that would normally be in storage is out all over everywhere. So it'll look a whole lot different when we get this squared up. So a couple things. We're gonna have to mark up how high the drawers are gonna be.
Okay.
And then at the bottom of the drawer, measure back to the wall, and that will determine the shortest distance will be the size slide that we're gonna use for that drawer.
Okay.
Copy that. Let's see here. We need to decide how tall these drawers are going to be. And Little Miss, everything's got to be in straight lines over here. Won't let me. We agreed as a couple that we were going to do the drawer design that she liked best, and I would just compensate for what I wanted inside the drawers. So we're not going to do like 5 narrow drawers for screwdrivers and wrenches and then deep drawers for other things. I think we're going to do 4 drawers. The top 2 drawers are going to be shallow, and the bottom 2 drawers are going to be deep, so that we can put things like, cordless tools and larger containers and bit boxes and stuff like that. The small drawers up top will be for all those handheld tools, the small stuff. Now, if we need to layer things in the bottom drawers, I can always build 2 layers or a lift-out insert in a drawer, and that'll solve that problem. And then they'll all look nice and even and the same all the way across, because that's
The correct word
wants.
is symmetrical. Sorry.
Anyway, here we go.
Even a tape measure to have like in the measuring tools drawer, still 3 inches is still deep enough, don't you think?
I just want everyone to go on record that said she said that 3 inches is deep enough. That's all I'm saying.
What does that say about you?
I'm an overachiever. So, ouch! God, why are you hitting me? To do 3, 3, 3, 6, 10.
5 drawers?
Yeah. Because in all reality, the top drawers they don't need to be that deep.
Okay, so you're gonna have marking and measuring
Screwdrivers, wrenches, sockets, drill, driver bits, blades, Milwaukee 12 volt, Milwaukee 18 volt, fasteners, electrical, plumbing, tape, zip ties, you have DeWalt stuff.
and anything else we can think of.
Right, so then we have 4 10-inch deep drawers, 4 7-inch deep drawers, and 15 3-inch deep drawers.
So you're doing 5 drawers?
Yeah.
That is the beginning of a beautiful thing.
Join us next week as we count down just how many saw cuts it takes to make 20 drawers. And hopefully we find out what's wrong with the dinghy.